I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right. Enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong?
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I really don't understand a lot of these apps on my phone. I got an iPhone 2, I think, has rotary dial on it. But I got a new one. It's pretty accurate, I got to admit. It shows you what you look like when you're old. It's called a camera. Yeah, my wife got it for me. Thanks for being with me here on The Doctor Is In. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi. This is as old as I've ever been. Yeah, I had a birthday last year. 50 candles. That was a piece I had. But, however, at this point, sitting in a chair and talking with you isn't all that energy exhausting. The number here is 877-573-7825. Give that number out pretty much at the beginning of every program. Eric Dumont, my call screamer, says, you got to give the number out. Eric, come on. My loyal listeners have the number pretty much spray painted on the walls of their house. Bathroom, garage. But I'll give it out. 877-57 equal. Acronymically, it's easy to remember. Yeah, when you go into physiological psychology and you study the memory, you find out that, if you group things in threes, a lot easier to remember. Group them in threes. But if you start coming out with an 877-573-7825, that's a 10-digit thing to remember, and that's tough. That is really tough, and it's not a simple number. It bounces all over the place, kind of like the national anthem. You got to sing the national anthem. It bounces every which way. But 877-57 equal, a lot easier to remember. Question about something in your life, circumstance, puzzling circumstance, irritating circumstance, frustrating circumstance, people, situation that's coming up or long past, anything. I mean, there's no guardrails here. We focus pretty much on life in general, from conception to eternity. Down around conception, we get a little fuzzy, and all the way out into eternity, well, that's our Lord's providence, and He knows. Province. That's our Lord's province, not providence. Of course, it could be. He knows an awful lot more about that than we do, but we speculate a little bit as long as we stay within the teaching of the church. So some calls are coming in, and I'm delighted, truly appreciate getting a chance to talk to you folks. One of the things that I've spoken often, I've written often about it, is that by and large, now again, I'm painting with a broad brush, the experts, and by experts I mean those people who say, whether they're psychologists or child development people, social workers, counselors, they say that you can do things other than discipline. I think they're really uncomfortable with discipline. I've seen it over and over again. They want you to be able to reason with children, or they talk about gentle parenting, which means, if at all possible, avoid having to discipline. I think that's a safe statement. I could give you a lot of examples. I got a re-release of a book coming out sometime down the road, but it was called Advice Worth Ignoring. And I talked about different ways that experts have tried to say, look, if you must discipline, okay, but keep it really kind of soft. And one place where the experts have had incredible influence has been the classroom. Educational settings. They pretty much absorb an awful lot of the new and enlightened psychological way of looking at things. Now, I'm not saying a lot of this stuff can't work, but my experience has been across the board it doesn't work well. Let me give you an example. When my son first began kindergarten, they had a little discipline structure in the classroom that a lot of classrooms have this. This is very common, mostly elementary level. Red, yellow, green. Now, there were many ways they did that, but typically you had cards at your desk. Now, green meant that you were fine. You hadn't broken any classroom rule. But wait, let me digress for a moment. When a teacher is to put the classroom rules on the board, he or she is not to put them in the negative. See what I mean about abilities of discipline? In other words, you can't say, no talking out. You must say, raise hand to speak. You can't say, do not leave seat without permission. You must say, seek permission to leave seat. All right? Something about no, I guess, just bugs them. And you know this. You've heard this from child development people. Never tell a toddler no. It squashes their innate curiosity for their environment. Redirect. All right. So when they do come across the real world with no in it, haven't heard it before. I digress. So you got the three: red, green, and yellow. Green's okay. You haven't broken any classroom rules. Are you allowed to say break rules? I don't know if you're allowed to say that. Maybe gone askance of any classroom rules. Yellow is a warning. That means you did break a classroom rule, but there is no consequence for breaking the classroom rule. You're warned. You were out of your seat, put up a yellow card. Red means there's a consequence. Now, typically the consequences are very benign, very benign. Oh, loss of 5 minutes of recess, put your name on the board, something. Now, this sounds like, well, okay, this is a structured setting here. My son's kindergarten class or first grade class, I forget which one it was, had about 20 kids in it. Now, the standard school day in Ohio was standard school year in Ohio was 180 days. Let's do the math. If every kid in that class would have realized that they got, I know I'm using a plural pronoun for a singular predicate, but you're allowed to do that now, I guess, a nod to sloppiness in grammar. If every kid realized that they got one warning with no consequence for breaking a classroom rule, you would have, by year's end, a total of 3,600 breaking of a classroom rule with no consequence. Dr. Ray, the kids either don't realize that or they don't want a yellow. I'll acknowledge that. And that's why the system works somewhat. Not with my son. He came home after about the second or third day, and he says, hey, Dad, you're allowed to do something wrong. And I didn't chastise him for using the word wrong. Value language. I didn't say, Andrew, please use the word unacceptable. Inappropriate choices. Dad, you're allowed to do something wrong every day. And nothing happens. Andrew, who is now an engineer for the Department of Defense, picked up on it instantly. What did I do? I said, well, Andrew, I'm going to give you a week to play within the system. After that, I'm going to talk to your teacher, and I'm going to find out if, in fact, you got a yellow. If you got a yellow, we'll do something about it at home because you disrupted the class. No, Dad. No, you're allowed to do that. I said, I know you're allowed to do that. I know that's the system that your teacher is following, and that's her business. She's allowed to follow that. We're not. But you see what I mean? This system is touted as a very clear, consistent discipline system. In fact, worst case scenario, you could have thousands of pieces of misbehavior. It's built into the system now. You know, you're saying, well, Dr. Ray, the kids don't do that. I go, I'm not arguing that they all do that. They won't. Only my son did. Maybe he got together with a couple of his buddies and shared his insight. I'm arguing that the system allows that. The so-called strict system allows that. And there are other systems similar that give kids a warning to break a rule every single day. Don't they know what the rules are? Say after a week or so, okay, here's the classroom rules. That's it. You know what they are? You don't need a warning every day? It's kind of like subtle nagging. I'm going to tell you to stop one time every day. And then if you keep going, then I'll do something about it maybe. Well, I'm not going to give you red, yellows, and greens here. Everybody gets a green on this program. Barbara, where did you go? You came on, you talked to Eric. Did he scare you? And then you just dropped. Come on back, Barbara. 877-573-7825.
Every woman deserves specialized health care. At Arbor Women Health, our team of compassionate professionals listen to our patients and want to understand what they're going through. They serve everyone from teen girls to seniors. Our faith-based clinicians specialize in obstetrics, gynecology, fertility awareness and crisis, or unexpected pregnancies. Call 734-930-4020 or visit arborwomenhealth.org. Arbor Women, faith-inspired, dignity-affirming health care.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi, host of The Doctor Is In, Ave Maria Radio for 20 years. I've been with them, and during that time, I've watched them spread our precious faith to anyone, anywhere. Well, also in that time, their equipment, the equipment that they had is cutting edge, no longer is cutting edge. It's kind of like an iPhone 5. We need your help. We absolutely need your help. Visit AveMariaRadio.net. You're not just donating, you're broadcasting hope.
Hi, it's Teresa Tomeo from Catholic Connection. Not having a will puts an unnecessary burden on your children. At mycatholicwill.com, a legal will is as simple as 15 minutes filling out information about your family. The standard cost, only $79.95. However, thanks to our partnership with mycatholicwill.com, when you use a promo code AVE, that's AVE, your will is absolutely free. No hidden costs whatsoever. So visit mycatholicwill.com.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically owned shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Thank you for joining me. Dr. Ray Guarendi here. Program Doctor Is In Monday through Friday. My compatriots there. Ave Maria Radio. Andrew Kruchek, producer man. Eric Dumont, call Screamer. This is a co-production with the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Elizabeth patiently waited on the phone yesterday, and she was on the line at the end of the program, like our rule says. Elizabeth is first up. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Thank you for calling.
Glad to be back.
Elizabeth, you didn't have to stay on hold the whole time from yesterday. You could have hung up and called back.
Yes, thank you. I'll remember that next time.
That a girl. What can I do for you?
Okay. Family situation. Dad is suffering dementia. Mom was focusing on Dad. She asked me not to call her, and I thought she was because she was focusing on Dad. But then my brothers who live in the same town as they do, the decision was made to move my parents into a remodeled garage apartment in my younger brother's big house. Good idea.
I bet Mom didn't like that.
No, she pitched a fit. She canceled all hospice care. Dad was so upset, they called 911. He was taken to the hospital, and from there he went into a facility. So Dad is safe now, and Mother is not there to harass him or whatever.
Your father's dementia is pretty far along.
Must be. It must be. See, I'm not there. They're up in Massachusetts, and I'm in Florida.
That's a ways.
Moving forward, there's a lot of details, but moving forward, Mother's lawyer has sent a letter to my big brother to evict him from a house that she owns.
Mom is taking it out on brother, huh?
Yeah, he's been paying rent on that house for over 20 years. He's brought up his two children.
Man.
My nephew still lives with his dad, and there's a roommate helping to pay the rent.
So let me see if I got this right, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Your dad was getting pretty confused. Your mom was taking care of him, and the brothers decided, one brother or maybe more, your siblings decided, we can't look in on Dad. Mom can't take care of him despite that she thinks she can. So Dad is going to be placed in a safe setting. Mom really got upset at that. Said her upset apparently is, I can take care of him, or how could you do this to him?
No. It's reversed. There's pictures of the apartment. It was gorgeous. She picked a paint color. It was good to go. And then on a Sunday, a couple of weeks ago, she pitched the fit. When she canceled all hospice care, visiting angels was supposed to come and take care of Dad.
So she changed her mind.
She changed her mind, and apparently she's been planning this all along. She stopped talking to me a year and a half ago. And I thought...
What'd you do? Wait a minute, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but what did you do?
Nothing. But what I did was I wasn't a proper mini mommy. I didn't believe what she believed. I didn't think what she thought. She wanted to control my mind. I made distance.
How old are you, Elizabeth?
Going to be 60.
Well, I think you've got enough years to be able to think on your own. So your mom's got to be in her 80s.
Yes, thank you.
Mom's in her 80s?
Yes, 86.
Okay. So here's where it is up to this date. She has pretty much written you off and the brother, and she's kicking him out as her way of saying, I can't believe you did this. Get out. You're evicted. Right? That's where it's at.
No. What she's saying is, all that money is for me.
What money?
That's where the assets. The next thing that's also happening is all the paperwork has gone to the court. They're waiting for discovery with the judge.
Well, here's my suggestion. Stay in Florida.
Thank you. Yes, you bet.
Stay in Florida. What a mess.
Yes.
If you have any talk with anybody, talk with your brother. Find out what he sees on the scene, but you're not going to be able to reason with your mom. Plus, she doesn't talk to you. So this is effectively out of your hands. And anything that is out of your hands like this, even though you may wish it wasn't unfolding like this, is an obvious solution, because you can't do anything about it anyway. So if you say, your question, I think your original question was, how do I detach myself from this whole drama?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Physically, that's easy enough to do, because you're detached from it anyway. Even if you wanted to be attached, you couldn't. They won't let you. Mom won't let you. Right. Emotionally, to detach yourself, you have to start rehearsing in your mind the reality, which is, I don't like what's happening, but I can't control other people.
Yep.
You're going to be miserable if you say to yourself, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't how mothers are supposed to act. If you do that, You'll just stay miserable until your mom leaves this earth. Then you might even be miserable after that. Who knows?
Yeah, I have accepted that. I've accepted that I've lost both my parents.
Well, your dad didn't abandon you, and your
No.
mom, for whatever the reason, my guess would be your mother's always been kind of emotional and difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, see, you don't have behavior like this all of a sudden, where you have a lady who was just sweet and gentle and giving and loving, and then all of a sudden she turns. That doesn't usually happen. This is something that's been a rough relationship for years and years and years, maybe decades.
Correct.
I think it's going to resolve itself, Elizabeth, because at some point, your mom's moving toward the end of her life, and your father's dementia will, if he hasn't already, has got him pretty much out of recognition of the family and what's going on. Maybe he doesn't even know where he is. So given that, he's not suffering, and your mom, who is just throwing a fit about all this, is eventually probably not going to be able to do a whole lot about it because she herself will become too elderly to live independently or whatever. That'll be something you'll watch through your brother. There you go, Liz. Thank you. Thank you for the call, honey. You take good care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish Barbara from Dallas would call back. See, what happens is, I would say I don't have any stats, but my guess would be, this is just a rough estimate, 88.26935%, rough estimate, would be cell phones, pretty much. Now this, okay, I have been told by David Anders, he's a good friend of mine, that sometimes he will refer people to call my show, and I'm going to refer Jesse to call his show, Call to Communion, right after this show. Because, I may take a flail at understanding this particular translation, but there's no doubt in my mind that David will not flail. He will help Jesse understand it. Jesse from Arlington, Texas. Hi, Jesse.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, sir. What confuses you about this particular verse in Thessalonians?
You mean Operation of Error?
Yeah.
Well, I'm confused because, it says clearly that God will send an Operation of Error. And I'm not sure if that would be Protestantism, Islam, Novus Ordo, or what, So maybe you can explain for us what your feelings are about that.
The first thing I thought of, and Andrew Kruchek, he checked into this and is clarifying it. The first thing I thought of was Operation of Error might be a translation that's only in certain translations of the Bible, and that it seems to be true. It only seems to be in the Dewey-Reams Bible translation. Other translations will say things like a powerful delusion, a strong delusion, a deluding influence, etc. So Operation of Error, sometimes these translations are tough to understand what exactly the idiom means. So it's probably easier to understand it if you say God is sending them a delusion, a strong misbelief, so that they'll believe the lie. And then in verse 12 it says that all who have not believed the truth but have approved of wrongdoing may be condemned. Stay there. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back, Jesse. That music cuts me off every time, right when I'm on a roll. 877-573-7825. We got time. Coming to the bottom of the hour. A lot of time left. So if you'd like to get on, please, I want to hear from you. It's Dr. Ray. Long enough, I would be bailed out. Jesse, are you still there?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I got Marcus Peters coming on. He is a resident theologian here at Ave Maria. Bright dude. Plus, he's got an accent, and then that accent really makes him sound a lot smarter. I've been trying to get an accent, but I sound like somebody from a combination of Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So, Marcus is there?
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray. How are you doing?
I'm confused. I'm really confused. I'm stumbling around. Here is the translation, one of the translations we have from Thessalonians chapter 2. So Paul says, and Jess is confused about this, therefore, God is sending them a deceiving power, or it could be translated deception, delusion, deluding influence, so that they may believe the lie. Now, the lie I think he's talking about is the Antichrist.
Yeah, the man of lawlessness.
Okay. That all who have not believed the truth but have approved wrongdoing may be condemned. Now, it sounds like God is deliberately misleading them. Comment.
So, in the Summa Theologiae, this is in question 19 of the Prima Pars, St. Thomas Aquinas talks about how we ought to understand the will of God. Now, he doesn't invent this. Obviously, this is the age-old teaching of the Church. And the truth is, we all know this, that there are two aspects to the will of God. You've got what we call the antecedent and the permissive will of God, or the contingent will of God. Now, big words, what this simply means is, antecedent is what God actually wills should happen, but within that, he creates a contingency of what he will allow to happen if we don't cooperate with his plan, because we are creatures of true free will, and he honors that. Within the context of the contingent will of God, this free will, this permissive will of God, when you see in the scriptures, for example, in the book of Exodus, the earlier part where God speaks to Moses and says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, it's the exact same kind of language in the Hebrew as well as in the Greek now in 2 Thessalonians 2:11 to this is until about 11 to 12. And it has to do with God allows us to be hardened by withdrawing from us the work of his grace in trying to convert us because we have set our will against him. So, like you mentioned, it's some translations, the Douay-Rheims, for example, will call it the operation of error. In the RSV, which I use typically for a lot of my biblical study, the RSV calls it the strong delusion. And it says the language is, therefore, God sends upon them a strong delusion. Now, there are two ways, again, based on what we've just talked about, that God can send a strong delusion. Either he actively, by his own hand, does it, or he withdraws his hand from the situation and allows it to happen. Either way, because God is sovereign and omnipotent, the scriptures will say God sent the strong delusion. So, one way we can understand this is the narrative of Noah, Genesis 6-9. Did God send the flood? Does God actually actively cause evil? Well, the answer is no. God knew the flood was coming by means of the natural progression of order of nature, and fallen nature no less, but he allowed it to happen, and he even informed Moses, this prophet, and undoubtedly Moses would have informed other people as well. But so God allows the avenue to happen, and so the scriptures say God sent the flood. God hardened Moses' heart, or in 2 Thessalonians 2:11 to 12, God sends this strong delusion or this operation of error because the presupposition of Paul is by the time the Antichrist comes about, the gospel of Jesus Christ has been preached so prolifically to the ends of the earth that people are at least familiar with it. And even in being familiar, they've rejected it. And so God allows them in their own rejection, their willful rejection of the gospel, to be hardened in their own hearts. That's and Aquinas in his commentary on 2 Thessalonians actually talks about exactly that as well.
Okay. Well, you explained it with more depth and understanding than I could, and I'm going to steal what you just said and see if I can synopsize it. Or, to use a word, if I can copybook it. Well, Marcus, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me on. God bless you for the good work you do.
Thank you, sir. Jess, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Here's what I understand from what Marcus said. These folks are so locked into their disbelief, and they've latched on to the Antichrist, the man of lies, that God says, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to let you do it. So that's probably the best explanation for that. God is saying, I'm not going to deliberately pick you out as deluded. You've been deluded. And God's gone, I'm not going to stop you. So I think that's really kind of the way the Scripture expressed it, even though it can be confusing because there's two things at play here. One, our language is pretty weak at trying to understand God. He's infinite, our language is finite, so we try to explain God, we try to understand God with our language, and it falls short. That's one. And two, moving between languages can really trip you up, because you try to find the right word, the right phrase to express exactly what that language was saying, and depending upon who does the translation, you can see, and this I'll digress here for a moment. This is one of the reasons why when I was in the evangelical world, they focused so heavily on every word of Scripture. And I remember thinking even then, yeah, but wait a minute. This is how that was translated in the edition you use. But in another edition, it's translated differently, and you're putting all kinds of conclusions, all kinds of theological speculations onto that phrase. And as you see, as you found, operation of error confused you, but delusion or misguided isn't as confusing. Jess, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you helping me get educated myself on this. Thank you, sir. Yeah. This Dr. A, 877-57-EQUAL. I wonder if that Janet is my friend. I don't know. I'm going to find out. But I better be careful, because she is a former English literature teacher, and she catches me when I stumble and fumble my way through the English language, although I've gotten a lot better at not doing embolalia. No, sir. Embolalia is not a part, I hope, of most of my speaking. Andrew, do you know what embolalia is? Embolalia is, anything that is nonsense filler words. You see it even in the most articulate and intelligent people. When they're asked a question, they begin, in a situation like that, it could be similar to, and they're thinking ahead, and the silence of a pause is uncomfortable. So you got to fill it with something. So I'm thinking maybe taking sort of a break kind of sometime soon here. Dr. Ray, thank you for joining me. Let's go to Janet from Ohio. I've never seen anything like this. It's probably been the last 10 years, but it's wildly gained momentum. I think it is fanned heavily by a lot of media. I'm stunned, shocked, saddened by how the media can divide us. They're very, very good at it. Rather than simply expressing, here's the news, here's what's going on. It's what they decide to focus on and what they decide to eliminate. So Janet, like so many of us, have friends whose political views are different. That's one thing. But it's quite another to say, I don't want you as a friend. because you have different political views. Janet, how are you?
Well, I'm okay. It hasn't gotten quite to the point where she doesn't want me as a friend, but it's getting to the place where I'm strongly wondering what my Christian obligation is to stay friends with this person, which is really sad because I've known her since 2001. So this is a long-time friendship.
Well, how nasty is she about this whole political difference?
Well, basically, you can't even talk to her about anything. We were talking this recently, really, this last week, and I'm trying to explain to her that, yes, I don't always agree with everything Trump says or does, but that the other side is certainly not without their faults, and she's like, I don't want to hear it. It's all Trump, basically. I think a big part of this is because she's had a lot of big-time disappointments in her life, and I think she's just looking for a scapegoat, in all honesty.
So you can say that every time you bring up something related to the way you look at things politically, she reacts strongly.
Oh, yes.
So why do you keep bringing them up?
Just that, even like fundamental things. I mean, how can I put this? Like how Christians, we try to see good in people, even if it's not always there. We try to find the fact that life has virtue. We'll put it that way. For her, all children are brats. You know, she doesn't want to go out or do anything anymore because everyone's got a gun. You know, and she could get shot up. I mean, it's things like that. Everyone's
she sounds pretty unhappy.
COVID.
Janet,
she's miserable.
She sounds, okay, good word, miserable. You have no Christian obligation to stay with a friend who is difficult, unpleasant, hard to talk to, virulently attacking of the things that you believe. You're not hating them, and if they were in trouble, you'd probably help her out, like the Samaritan. But friendships are built upon certain commonalities. So as this lady has become more upset with life, more willing to blame her unhappiness upon other people, including perhaps even you, the friendship has simply, at the least, cooled off, but at the worst, just simply fragmented.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. I mean, it's what I would call conversational rules. There are certain things you're not allowed to say. True?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Or
and you don't know when you're going to stumble into those topics.
Well, that's it. I mean, even like when it comes to life. I love children. I think it's sad that we're so anti-child. I myself really couldn't have children because of my disability. But she's just, it's to the point where all children are brats. She doesn't like kids. If I even tell her something as general as, oh, it was such a nice day today, I could hear the kids out next door playing outside, and it made me happy, she's like, oh, I hope they weren't too noisy. I can't stand it when kids are noisy. I don't like kids.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it's just gotten to
that's
point.
A downer. That's just a downer. I mean, when you want to be around people that you call friends, you want at least some uplifting experience with them, and she's just a downer.
I know. I just feel so bad because she surrounds herself with negative media, things like true crime podcast and things like that. And I mean, just all this horrible lefty extremist stuff that you get online. And some of her other friends are more like her. And I just feel like it was kind of wondering if it was up to me to sort of try to be the good example. That's the only reason I'm even conflicted at all.
Well, you can be a good example, but the problem is she doesn't want your good example.
I guess not.
When was the last time? Let's just gauge it this way. When was the last time she said, "You know, I never thought about it that way. That's something I got to think about, or that's something I got to consider." Good point there, Janet. When was the last time she said that?
I don't even know. She doesn't even ask me how I'm doing half the time when we call.
Right. This sounds like, just from your description, I don't know her, but from your description, sounds like a very unhappy, miserable individual, and to her, life stinks, and certain politics stink, and it also sounds like religion stinks. So there's not a whole lot of commonalities here. Why would you feel obligated to say, I want to keep trying to bring her around? You've been trying for years.
Well, the thing is, I'll be very honest. I've never been...
No, don't be very honest. Just be part honest.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The thing is, when I first met her, okay, we were both going to YSU, and the thing is, I was closer to her way of thinking, but I've gotten more conservative and I guess more religious. I hate to use that term, more Christian, as time has gone on. And the thing is, she seems like she's gone further to the left, and I think I've gone much further to the right.
Well, you can outgrow friendships. That happens all the time.
I guess not.
Sure, you can outgrow friendships, of course. That doesn't mean you wish her evil.
Oh, no.
Doesn't mean any of that.
It's sad, though. She used to be so loving and outgoing, and it's just, like I said, she had a relationship go kaput.
Unfortunately,
on her.
my dear, people can get bitter as they get older. If they don't look at their thinking and if they don't try to understand why they're making themselves so miserable, they get bitter. So, yeah, to answer your question finally, because I take a break, I don't think you have any Christian obligation to keep up this friendship. God bless you, dear.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Ray. I'll be right back.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
My dad used to say, Berkasa ila min lipa. In English, it means blessings come from the heart, meaning the true blessings, acts of kindness, generosity, love, and goodwill are most meaningful and impactful when they're given sincerely with genuine emotion and intention. Sincerity matters. Blessings or good deeds are most valuable when it comes from a place of genuine care, not obligation or self-interest. Emotional connections, when someone gives from the heart, their actions carry emotional weight, making the recipient feel truly valued and loved. And finally, authentic giving. Whether it's a prayer, a compliment, help, or a gift, its power comes not from its form or size, but from the love and authenticity behind it. In essence, this saying reminds us that true worth of a blessing lies not in the act itself, but in the heartfelt intention behind it. This has been a Christ-Centered Communication Message. I'm Vanessa Denhagarmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi, host of The Doctor Is In. Ave Maria Radio has been putting out fabulous Catholic teaching, but the equipment we've got is aged. Like me, needs a lot of help. Some of the stuff is just hard to replace anymore. If you go to AveMariaRadio.net, please, for a donation for the equipment to reach much farther. You're not just donating, you're broadcasting hope. Thank you for joining me. Let's go to Rose. She's been waiting patiently. Rose, I will call her that. By any other name, I suppose I could. Still be as sweet a call. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Well, my problem is my husband, he used to see a therapist. He saw one for 3 years and it didn't help at all with his work addiction. He's actually a lot worse. So, I'm not sure because he's getting older. He's 59 now, has a lot of health problems, but it's still not slowing him down.
Well, how much is he working, Rose?
I don't see the man. He gets up at around 6 a.m. and I don't see him till like 11:30 at night. 7 days a week.
And it's been this way through your whole marriage?
No, we've been married over 30 years now, but when we first started, it was if a friend needed help with something, he would go. And, I mean, some of it is his family, too. They're not helpful. I've tried to talk to them about it. They don't see an issue. They have him run in, too, with a whole bunch of things for them to do and help with, which is good, but, I mean, he's mowing grass on an empty house that nobody's lived in 20 years. So, I mean, for me, it's like I wish they would just sell the stuff and ease his...
Why did he go to therapy for 3 years? Why did he go to therapy for 3 years?
For the work addiction.
So he recognized it as something that controlled him?
Yes, that he just can't stop.
Well,
and that's what he tells me, he can't stop.
I get nervous when somebody uses the word can't, because nobody's holding a gun to his head and saying, you must go to work. Did you have children?
No,
Okay.
We were going to adopt, and actually I backed out of it, because he said, well, if it doesn't work out, then I'll leave and they'll just be yours. So I called the adoption agency and said, forget it. Because I didn't think that was right, and I was a little too worried about it.
When do you see him?
Before he goes to work in the morning, which he's very grouchy, so that's not easy. And then when he gets home at night, which is only like maybe 10, 15 minutes in the morning, 10, 15 minutes at night. That's about it.
7 days a week.
That's 7 days a week.
So he doesn't go to church.
That's why I tried to call his family. He doesn't go no. No, he went for about 3 months, and that's about it.
You go to church?
Yes.
Do you think that's foolish, or no? That's if that what Rose wants to do, fine. She's living her life.
That's basically what I've had to do. You know, it started out with, I used to get really annoyed because if something broke in our house and I would fix it, and he would go and help a friend to fix the same thing. But he looked at it as he's teaching me to be independent. So I used to get really upset, but now I don't get upset with things like that anymore.
Let me see if I got what you're telling me. For 30 years of a marriage, you saw your husband at most 1 hour a day.
Well, not at the beginning. No. Not at the beginning. No, this is probably the last 10 years.
Is that a sign that he's becoming disenchanted with marriage?
Well, I was the one that became disenchanted with marriage. Not so much him, but I did because, you know, basically being independent all the time.
Mm-hmm. Rose, obviously from what you're describing, he doesn't want to change. And I think if you were in my office and we talked a while, I would probably come to some piece of advice that would say, all right, you're going to probably have to live your own life with your own interests, filling up your time and your days, recognizing that for whatever the reason, and who knows why he's doing this, you're not having a husband there. He's just not there. I think I would ask him. I say, "What is this? Don't tell me you can't. Nobody's putting a gun to your head. What is it that you do this?" And you ask him, "Is it me? Is it you want other people to think highly of you? Is it that you just don't like being married and this is the only way you deal with it? What is it? Just tell me, please. I just want to know out of curiosity." And if he dodges you and he says, no, I don't want to talk about it. No, I just have to. I don't know why I do it. I just do it. For whatever the reason, and now you probably heard all that already, for whatever the reason, Rose, if you're asking me, how do I make him stop? I don't know. I have no idea. Because he's been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, well, in the past, I mean, he used to like to go hunting, fishing, things like that with the guys.
Well, the difference is not the past. The difference is now, Rose. The difference is the last 10 years he's done this. And you got to kind of know, if you can, for your own peace of mind, and then you're going to have to live, in a lot of respects, a parallel life. Doesn't mean you're divorcing him. It doesn't mean you hate him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you're going to do. A parallel life. You're going to get involved in church. You're going to volunteer. You're going to do the things you can do to make yourself occupied and happy and content. Recognizing until he decides or until he's unable to keep up that pace, nothing will change. Rose, thank you. I got to run. I got to make one quick announcement.
Okay.
Well, he's going to be grouchy, so you can't make him be ungrouchy. Just got to ignore it. This is Dr. Ray. I got to make a quick announcement. Congratulations. Great EWTN radio partner. 10 years with us. KHRA 94.1 FM. Anchorage, Alaska. I was there. What a great place. Glenn, Brian, all the team at Holy Rosary Academy. From all of us here at EWTN. Way to go. 10 years. Anchorage. Man, I was there. It was 11 o'clock at night, and it was still really bright out. I was all confused. Walk with God. Oh, boy. Sometimes your walk with God will save you from others.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.